Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about how to convey trust as a leader within an organization. Let's move on. So firstly, it is important to create a risk-taking climate within the organization. And in order to do so, there's at least four different ways. So firstly, you would need to be able to encourage open communication. So this means that you would organize frequent meetings to talk about advancements, difficulties, and potential areas for innovation. You should also be able to set yourself as an example, basically telling your staff about your own accomplishments and setbacks to encourage them to take risks and consider different options. And this way, you as a leader are going to make your employees more comfortable in what they're going to be accomplishing and trying to reach, because they would learn from your own mistakes and from your own examples and experiences. Moreover, it is also important to provide resources and support. So in this case, it is talking about providing direction and mentorship to support team members when dealing with challenges and navigating uncertainty. And this is something very crucial because support is a necessity when it comes to taking a risk. You're always going to be under pressure while in these type of situations, and therefore support and resources that are available for you are highly important in achieving your goals. Then lastly, you would also want to reward and recognize initiatives. And in this case, it is talking about establishing a structure of rewards for those who contribute to positive change and continuous learning, such as bonuses, recognition, or chances for career progression. In this way, employees are not only going to be willing to take more initiatives, but they will also be more motivated to present their best work because of the rewards that they're going to be receiving or the incentives that they're going to be getting from their specific tasks that they're accomplishing. Now, taking a look at building a climate of trust, here it is important to lead with transparency. In this case, you would want to promote flexibility and trust, promptly establish decisions and changes made by the organization. And also inclusivity and diversity becomes a crucial point in this case because it promotes creativity and problem solving, in which case team members with diverse backgrounds and specialities should be encouraged to collaborate and have constructive feedback. And this means that they're going to be, whenever you have a diverse environment slash workspace, it makes it easier for you to make it more trustworthy by being open and understanding each other's backgrounds and then providing more additional details and arguments on the topic of the discussion. And then empowering decision making is another big one. In this case, it is discussing respect and belief in the capabilities of your team members, which helps you to have more confidence in their skills. That's pretty much self-explanatory in a way that by respecting others' decisions, you are trusting in them and allowing them to accomplish it, which brings them more confidence in their own abilities and their chances of achieving the specific desired goal. Lastly, investing in relationship building is another major point because it encourages social exchanges. It would encourage social exchanges and interdepartmental cooperation to avoid organizational separation and foster an appreciating team environment. And in this case, it is also pretty self-explanatory as it allows you to continuously building on your own relationships and building an environment where everyone knows what they're doing and they know who to delegate the specific tasks and everyone is clear on what they're supposed to be doing themselves as well. Now moving on to showing your trustworthiness as a leader. In this case, consistency in actions and words is a big point because it allows you, in this case, you would have to be flexible, consistent, and trustworthy in your choices, actions, and verbal agreements. And by doing so, you're going to become a more trustworthy leader because you're providing all of those incentives for your employees to be more motivated to work for you and in a way empower you, which brings you credibility overall. And then also acting with integrity when collaborating with others and making decisions, it is crucial to act with integrity, equity, and openness. And that was partially mentioned when it comes to diversity and inclusion as well. Moving on to listening and emphasizing. Yes, in this case, to establish respect and trust, leaders would have to be sympathetic and empathetic towards their experiences and emotions. And then lastly, admitting mistakes and learning from them is another big point because but it keeps improving and gaining the trust of others. It shows it allows you to show respect and be willing to absorb constructive criticism and comments. And this is a very important point in trying to become a trustworthy and credible leader, because if you're not taking criticism or any arguments when making a decision, this becomes a less of a collaborative work environment, which basically eliminates all of the benefits that were mentioned previously and can have a significantly worse outcome if not being followed compared to the other 3 points. Now, moving on to leaders and how they demonstrate their trust to others. In this case, it is important for them to delegate authority and responsibility. For example, they would want to provide employees with accurate instructions and expectations and the freedom to take charge and prove their ability. So even though this sounds a little bit controversial because you're providing specific instructions and at the same time allowing them to pretty much do whatever they want in order to achieve the goal. This is that specific flexible environment where employees are able to tackle issues and specific projects in the most efficient way, because they're given accurate and specific instructions to understand the final goal that the company is trying to achieve. But they're able to utilize their own resources and their own knowledge and decision making to make the right choices when achieving that goal. Therefore, it becomes extremely important. And as mentioned previously, it's highly important to offer support and resources, for example, providing guidance, instruction, and evaluations to simplify employee development. And it is also important to recognize and appreciate contributions. For example, to strengthen confidence and trust, it is helpful to thank your employees for their efforts and publicly recognize their contributions. But it's also important to note that in some cases, public recognition is not always appreciated, and it can result in several drawbacks. For example, in some cases, people who do not want to be publicly recognized, they would be less willing to take those challenging tasks because they would know that they will be publicly appreciated, and therefore they would be worried, less motivated, and dissatisfied. And lastly, it is also important to avoid micromanagement, in which case it fosters a sense of ownership and accountability, which involves putting your trust in employee decisions and letting them take measured risks. And therefore, it is highly important because you're providing them with authority and ability to make their own choices, as I mentioned in the first bullet point, which allows them to make their best decisions and provide their best work as possible. And yes, thank you for looking into this presentation. Here are my references. Thank you and goodbye.